Do you think you know what chess planning is about? Do you think you understand how you can get better in chess? Well, maybe there is a missing part which I will explain to you today. Hi, welcome back to my channel and I'm Grandmaster Shahin, and today we are gonna dive deep into the heart of chess, the middle game. Specifically, I want to talk about understanding the real plans for both you and your opponent, and why you should steer clear of those tired cliches like mindless chess exchanges or just developing without enough reason. So, if you're tired of losing positions because of these habits, this video is for you. Let's break it down step by step with real examples from famous games. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more chess wisdoms. So for starter, I want you to look at this position carefully and think about it. We are white, we want to find the best move there is. No drama, no great calculation or something fantasy about this position, just normal best move that you think in this one. So if you just think about some cliches like changing the knight with the bishop is good and play knight takes f6, queen takes f6, and then okay, on the books, they say just develop the pieces, try to push the pawns forward, playing c4, d5, find and creating pass pawns. Now, in this exact position, it doesn't really work because one of the reasons is black can actually double his rooks, attacking on our pawn, and puts a lot of pressure. So it's not easy for white to develop and get progress in this position. Another reason is from the beginning, one of black's really dangerous plans are king g7, then rook h8. Now, if he plays this plan and then trying to understand and create some attacks on the king side, that would be a trouble. So instead of just thinking about what you should do, the first step is understand what your opponent wants to do here. So here two things can happen. One is you understand and then you realize your plan is more dangerous, or his plan is not that dangerous at all, so you do your own thing. Other thing is you understand that his plan is worth considering, and it's better if you first try to stop this. And by stopping this, I don't mean playing passively. No, sometimes we can attack and stopping our opponent's idea at the same time. Now, the best move here in this game for white is queen e3 first. So what's the plan of this move? First of all, black cannot play king g7 at all. It's not useful because we can play queen h6 check if he goes back. Now actually we can find some attacking ideas after rook d3, and that's the difference. Other thing is, if he tries to double his rooks, it takes more time. Like for example, if you play queen e7, now it is also possible for you to play knight e5, changing the bishop and the knight on the better square and actually taking it back with the queen, not the pawn. So as I mentioned before, you will have some attacking ideas of yourself. The engine says this position is still draw, but at least we are not forced at all after queen e3, and that's the difference between drama, between doing some fantasy and the real chess. Now, focus on exactly what is happening. And remember, every position is unique. You cannot just think, okay, changing the knight with the bishop is always good. That's not true. Or pushing the pawn forward is always good. That's not true. Even developing is not always good. It depends on the position. So in each position, I will teach you on the upcoming ones to how you can find the best actual realistic plan for yourself. Let's move to other thing. Before we move to the next position, let me tell you what do I mean by real plans. In chess, a plan isn't just moving pieces around, hoping for the best, isn't just developing, isn't just changing the pieces. First of all, it's about assessing, evaluating the position, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opponent's intentions, pawn structure, everything. The middle game, especially, is where openings transitions into endgame. and it's chaotic, by the way. There are many complicated positions, calculation, but the pros, the masters, succeed by reading the board like story. Now, by this definition, I will explain you the next position as well. Look at this position. It's from Karpov-Smyslov 1972 game, which is a famous game. Now, it's white to move. We are right. And if we want just to, develop some pieces, let's say knight d4 attacking, and after that knight f5, some ideas like this, it doesn't work well. Because there's no good plan in this scenario. First thing first, you need to understand what your opponent wants to do. And he wants to play knight e7, knight g6, and knight f4 or knight h4, which is actually really dangerous, guys. So just developing the knight doesn't work for us. It's nothing. So, for example, knight d4, knight e7. The knight cannot go to f5 anymore because it takes it, and we have a very bad double pawn. At least black's position is not worse at all. And that's all. So if we just think about our own plan, if we just think about getting outposts or some general rules that you have seen in the book, it doesn't work. So here we understand that we have some problems, we have some weaknesses, as I mentioned, on the king side. And now about our strength. We have a good position on the queen side. Now this pawn, b7 pawn, is a little bit weaker than other pawn. So we know about our opponent's plan, which is knight e7, knight g6. It takes about 1, 2, and 3 moves to come to f4. We know about our strength. Here is the time that we make our own plan, which is, by the way, faster. That's really important. We should find a faster way. And also, it's better, scarier, it's efficient. White play queen d4 here, guys, which is the brilliant move. What's the idea? If black wants to play knight e7, now we will play queen b6. 1, 2 moves faster than our opponent. He cannot do anything, by the way. If he changes, we take with the knight, with the rook, and this pawn is on the edge. Now knight g6 doesn't work anymore. Doesn't matter. We take the pawn's endgame and we have a winning position. If he doesn't take, he cannot defend b7 pawn. And if he doesn't play knight e7, our mission, the first stage at least, is finished. He cannot develop, he cannot do what he wants. And by the way, in some positions, just preventing your opponent from doing his own plan is actually the best plan. Remember this. I emphasize on this part. Sometimes, if you just play some moves which your opponent cannot do what he wants, that's the best thing and that's the best plan for you. So do not think you should do something at any position. That's not true. Sometimes it's not about doing something yourself. It's about preventing your opponent's plan. After queen d4, you cannot play knight e7. If you play some other moves, like for example rook e7, doesn't matter. We have multi other plans in this position. Now we know our opponent is useless, his pieces, by the way. We can play knight d2, knight e4, then knight f6, for example. That would be one of our plans. Other plans is queen b2, actually. Now for example knight d4, and this pawn is also with the rook and with the queen is on the attack. So that's the best kind of plan, guys, and that's the real chess. The real chess is not about just memorizing some general ideas. Oh, on that book the writer said, okay, I should develop. On that book the writer said, okay, I should push the pawns, I should put my knights on the outpost, I should put my bishops on the long diagonal, or something like this. It's yes, they are generally correct, but each position requires that you understand it. Your plan, your opponent's plan, find the most efficient, simple, safe, and by the way, faster plan than your opponent. Let me show you another examples. Look at this one. This is the third example. We are right. It's another Karpov against Spassky this time game, 1974. And the last move black played b5. Now, try to listen to the old books and develop the pieces. Like for example, queen b3, attacking on the d5, which doesn't work by the way because it's well defended. Doubling your rooks, rook c2, rook fc1. All of these moves they look nice, but they are useless by the way, because your opponent wants to play knight b6, putting the knight on d4, on c4. I'm sorry, and this way his knight is really strong. If you double the rooks, if you do anything on the center, it doesn't work at all. And his position actually getting better move by move. So just developing, connecting your own rooks and all this small stuff doesn't work in this position. You need a better plan. You need to do something that your opponent actually is scared of, and it's actually faster than your opponent. Now in the real game, white played knight d2, one of the good plans. The thing is, he wants to play knight b3 and put the knight on c5 or a5 as well. It's dangerous, it is efficient because the knight on f3 didn't do anything. So when it goes to c5, for example, after knight b6, when it goes to c5 or a5, doesn't matter, your knight is actually doing something, it's on the outpost, it's fine. Also, there is another thing here, which is e4. Right now, or even as engine says, you could play bishop d3, preparing e4. Why e4 right now is efficient? Because it actually opening the c line, because when it takes, you can take back with the knight, and threatening your opponent's pieces. That's the most important part. You should do something which makes threats. Like for example, let's say he plays knight b6, e4. He needs to defend it. You should always play somehow that your opponent doesn't have enough time to do what he wants. And he needs to do what you actually want. Like for example, d takes. He needs to do something about it, otherwise you play e5. Knight takes. Again, you're attacking. You want to attack, you want to play knight c5, all other things. He needs to react. You need to play somehow, you need to make plans somehow that your opponent cannot act, but needs to react to your own plan. And that is maybe what chess is about. Actions, threats, making faster plans. These are more important than just some general rules, just something that you have read on the books and this kind of stuff. And that's the difference, by the way, guys, between masters and just normal players. So to summarize all these details, guys, I need to tell you the biggest difference between some player like 1600 and 2300 players is not about tactics, is not about rules, it's about awareness. Awareness of real plans, awareness of imbalances and how you can actually use them, awareness of your opponent's ideas and what you should do to deal with them. So stop playing by just general ideas, stop playing like you want to do like others. Every position is unique, remember this. And actually start understanding the real chess which I explained to you on this position, and start reading every position, evaluating, assessing those positions, understanding what it wants from you, like I explained to you. I hope it was useful for you. If you want, subscribe, turn on the notification so you will be aware every time I will post free, new and useful ideas for you.